Meet Mrs. REETU THAPA. She is originally from Kalimpong and has been an educationist for many years, winning many accolades during her career. She lives in Bangalore with her ever-supportive husband, Mr. Samir Thapa, and is a proud mother of 2 daughters. She is currently in the process of launching a new school here in Bangalore, and I got the small window of an opportunity to steal some of her time. This is her story. Ma'am, tapako yo jun chai journey cha ni, like as an educationist, how did and when did this start?
I have basically been a very passionate teacher by interest, by choice. While teaching, I always found that there were learning gaps, and the education system has to be student-centric, life skill-based, and there were constant requirements in the system wherein I wasn't enabled to be a facilitator. For that, you have to be able to make changes, you have to be at a decision-making role or a mentor role. For that, the first thing, as usual, the change has to come within yourself. Whenever you want to change, the first change is yourself. That's what I believe in. So I felt that first and foremost, I had to do my research, I had to do my homework, I had to study further. I had done my B.Ed already, I was a trained teacher.
And where was this, ma'am? This is which city? Or
I did my B.Ed in Calcutta University. Okay. But moving on, after marriage, I did my PhD and first I did my MA and my PhD in Indore, Madhya Pradesh. Samir, my husband, Samir Thapa, he was with Tata Steel those days. So we got the exposure in a city called Indore, Madhya Pradesh, which had these beautiful universities, and I joined DAVV, Devi Ahilya Vishwavidyalaya, where I completed my PhD. Of course, I couldn't have done it without my family and especially my husband's motivation.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I completed my PhD there, but all this was entirely, there was a very, very deep reasoning within me. My logic was that if I wanted change in the systems I was in, and where I'm passionate about, then first of all, I need to change myself. I need to know more about the system, and I need to have a very, very strong foundation. Okay. So that is where I began my studies further.
Okay. So, like as an educationist, you becoming a principal, I believe you were a principal in a school for the last 12 years.
Yes.
Prior to this, where was that, ma'am? I believe it was Mumbai, and how did that?
Not Mumbai. It was, we were actually in Jakarta. I had a very long stint abroad and got exposure in some of the best schools in India. After Jakarta, Indonesia, my first assignment as a principal was in Aditya Birla Public School, which is a very famed school. It is in a township in Salav, that is Maharashtra.
Okay.
So I took up the principal's position in Maharashtra for 6 years and led the school forward. And some of my highlights there, which I still feel that some of those are my the milestones in my learning and in the teamwork. When I looked after the Aditya Birla School, we took the team forward, and I was one of the driving forces for the Birla School of Maharashtra Salav to achieve the National Award for Quality Education.
Okay, that is something awesome, I guess.
Yes, yes. That is called the IMC RBNQA Award. It's a quality, making quality happen. That's the award. And it's the making quality happen in education.
I can see that you've had a very long-standing career as a principal, you know. And I'm sure from coming from Kalimpong to the cities and all, because when you grew up, we're all small town people. What were the toughest times that you faced, in your career so far that you might remember? I'm sure there have been tough times.
I wouldn't call it tough. I would call it challenges, which I really enjoyed. Because, the entire reason why I took this administrative and academic position was to be an enabler and was to be a facilitator. And I always knew that this path is going to give me a lot of challenges.
Okay.
I think at every point of time, there are several challenges which comes up. It may be administrative, it may be academic, but one of the things I really took up very seriously and was able to implement was there's a very particular requirement in education, that is application-based knowledge.
What does that mean?
When education is delivered to students,
Okay.
you have to prepare them for life. The theory and the practicals is there, of course, but the teachers have to deliver it in such a manner that it becomes enduring learning. It's something that they can apply in real life situations. For that, you need two basic components. One is that you need the infrastructure, the equipment, the apparatus, the manipulatives have to be there. That is from the management side. And you need teachers trained in that manner. In-house training has to be done. Now, to bring that together is a great challenge for a principal, the leadership team of the school. Because at one side, you have to have your budget, you have to have approved and justified material ready. Why and how are you going to use it and utilize it? And on the other hand, you must have a team of teachers who are trained to deliver this. So that was one of my greatest challenges. And the greatest joy, I would say, to discover that yes, it's very doable with a lot of dedication and with the right interests of the team. And I think building a great team is very important for this.
I think those challenging times that you are talking about is what has made you reach where you are today, I think,
Thank you, Bhai. But I must say that at every point of time when these challenges were there, and I felt that we were very steady. It was not an overnight miracle for us. But when we saw the joy of discovery in the children, and when we found out that children are applying what they learned to a real life situation, and they were becoming problem solvers, and when the little children growing up found that whatever they were doing in class was relevant to life, it was just not within the two covers of a book. They would use it in future, and how they would do it, and the questions that emanated from them. The curiosity that was built, and there were many questions which even the teachers didn't have answers for, and that was the beauty of it, because we found that yes, we are progressing, because the children are now able to ask the right questions. It's not about all the right answers. All of us don't have the right answers to everything. None of us have it.
True, ma'am.
But it's the questions, it is the right questions. I think we were able to get the right questions from the children.
Ma'am, the next question that I wanted to really ask you, this is something that I have been trying to ask all personalities that has been there in the cities, have done well. Because you are from the same place that I am from, and coming from a small town, what values from back home do you think have helped shape the personality that you are today?
There are numerous actually. Starting with my schooling, I am a Josephite.
Okay.
I'm a typical Kalimpong Josephite. We used to actually purposely miss the school bus so that we can walk it to school and see the Himalayan ranges as we walk down to school. Those beautiful mornings and the system in the school, sincerity was the foundation. The school set, I think I would make it as priority number one.
Yes, I do believe St. Joseph's has a really, I've seen, my sister is also from St.
Okay,
Joseph's.
yes.
So the school really has an impact on their students, you know.
Yes, it has a legacy which has built down the years, generations, and many of the Josephites are today doing well in many walks of life. I would really thank our teachers and our missionary nuns, our sisters, their dedication. That is one. Coming to the family background, I grew up with my grandparents. I lived in a very secure and a very loving atmosphere, which gave me the confidence to never be afraid of failure and always bounce back. I think that is one very solid confidence building factor in my childhood, given to me by my grandparents. From my parents, Lieutenant Colonel Ramesh Ale and Mrs. Vijay Ale, what I got from them is the determination and the will to pursue. And from my community, the Gorkha community, what I have imbibed is the constant cheer, the positivity. No matter what, they're always cheerful. There's something very positive about the Gorkha community.
Yes,
And I think,
can't deny that.
just the inner positivity, the inner, the smile is so internal and so true. I think we have this, and at every point of life, we carry it with us. The hard-working, commitment, features of the Gorkha community, I think, we carry it with us all the time.
Thank you so much for that lovely answer, ma'am. I'll move on to my next question, you know. So, as you know that back home and most parts of the country, we are still following the traditional method of education in most things. As an educationist, what reforms would you suggest, if there are any? Given also keeping in view the recent education bill that was put forward?
One of the most primary classroom delivery systems should be skill-based. We do have a lot of theory still. We can't do away with it. Technology-enabled learning has come into the global scenario in a big way, and it's come to stay with us now.
Yes.
Blended learning is the best form of education. Technology-enabled solutions with upskilling of the students. Now, the skill-based education that we call today, it's a very modern term.
Yes.
And there is in-house training going on for teachers. The National Education Policy has also brought in these systems. It's very project-based. We call it experiential learning, but when you look at it very deeply, it's not new. It's something like an old system put in a new frame. When you look at the very old Vedic systems of teaching, when you look at in fact, I would call the culture in India, which was there before the British system came in, it was very skill-based. Everyone had a certain skill and they had to excel in that skill.
True.
It was there.
Yes, yes.
Down the years, we moved into different systems and imbibed different systems, and now, in fact, in the modern trend, we are going back to it, but now with a different frame. So it is very project-based, it is hands-on learning, it is interdisciplinary. Each and every discipline has a connection to it. When you look at creativity, when you look at innovation.
On the same line, like this question for me, the next question that I wanted to inculcate with the previous one that I just asked, you know, this is pretty, I feel in today's day, it's pretty relevant, you know, given the pace at which technological progress is currently moving on, especially in the advancement in AI, and many jobs are predicted to be taken over by AI in the coming years, and they've already started, you know. How would you advise the current student generation to prepare for this kind of the future?
Well, AI, I would think of it as the language of the future.
True, yes.
So we would very soon, the next generation would be talking in that language, thinking in that language. So our children have to be able to cultivate the AI culture right from very early school days. I would say coding, programming has to come in a big way in the education field. Computer skills have to be learnt at early levels, and age-appropriate coding and programming has to be brought into the curriculum, which we already are, we have started, but we must also understand that this should not be a very mechanical system. The human factor has to come into it, understanding that technology is an ally. It's a kind of a support to us. Humanity will always remain the topmost priority and the highest form of thought processes.
I think that has been one of the most satisfactory answers that I have gotten. For the people that I've spoken to regarding the same question, the human part that you spoke about is so really important, because certain companies and certain other places that I do know, they are trying to commercialize the coding part of the deal.
Yeah.
Age appropriation that you talked about, and not making it mechanical. That is very
because you see the children, the next generation coming up, we must understand that as they go forward in life, that technology, whatever is taught, has to be a part of their lives, not their entire life.
True.
That is what brings about a complete imbalance in their life skill, in their art of living, and later on in life, not now, but in future, it may cause a lot of emotional imbalance, it may cause too much of screen time, it may cause major health issues, which children may not understand. So it is for us as senior members who have grown up in changing times, like the pandemic we went through blended knowledge, we went through technology, and we came through saw the conventional moving into highly effective technology. So we must be able to channelize the children so that they are able to judge in the right way.
Yes, ma'am. And also, ma'am, because of, like you spoke about the current social media effects, like the technology that, I think certain effects on children has already started. You and me both know about it.
Yes.
So, ma'am, like I was saying, in relation to the effects of technology and media, that the effects that it has on children nowadays, and we have a lot of conscious parents in today's date, who kind of have their own opinions on what is best for their children. And there is a trend and a certain school of thought which says that homeschooling, the new trend, is the way to go currently. What are your thoughts on the same, on homeschooling?
Vedant, homeschooling is something which accelerated during the pandemic time. It was a requirement. There was no option. Schooling is actually about social interaction. It's about how children learn with the community, their milestones reached, the kind of age-appropriate challenges they have in a classroom situation. The school ecosystem is completely different from a home situation. So what I would say is homeschooling is not a replacement for school. It can happen in times of requirements like what we just went through, the COVID situation. Or there's one more reason homeschooling is important. When we have children who are, we call them children with special needs, and they are not able to get the right inclusive education. You see, schools having inclusive educations are very few, and the expertise in that field is very specialized. So in that case, homeschooling is very helpful, wherein the parent takes the role of a complete teacher. But I would not suggest homeschooling as an option for schooling. The school ecosystem is so strong and helps the child to prepare for life, which the home, within the four walls of the home, and just the parent and the child and the interaction only between the father and mother and the child and the screen is not at all a replacement for the school system.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I must sincerely say I'm getting some really beautiful answers. To be honest, I'm really being honest here, because my idea of homeschooling was a little different compared to what I just heard right now. And ma'am, I know that you have also made you're coming up with a new school right now, right?
Yes.
And I guess we would be heading there very soon. The next question I wanted to ask you was, now if you were to give one piece of advice to the youth, not necessarily students, back home or anywhere else, what would that be?
This is something I've really thought over, because we do have to really reflect when we speak to the next generation. They are already very well informed. There are two aspects, Vidhan. One is things that you have to do and things that you like to do.
Yes.
Things that you like to do are with your innate interests, your potential, things you love to do, which you should do. You should put your heart and soul and learn the techniques and enjoy it. Okay? But that may or may not become your profession. It's not, everyone is not fortunate enough to have your interests as a profession. That may be a stress buster. That may be a hobby. That's something you love to do. You have to do. You should not avoid it. That's one. In the other part of your life, which is equally important, there are things that you have to do. And you have to start liking what you have to do. Only then you enjoy it. And probably that may become your profession, and that may become how you can take responsibility for your family. You may become a bread earner. You may become the person who takes your community forward, your family forward, right? So you have to balance between the two. That's what I tell the next generation. I want them to understand, because when they are very young, they often feel that as we have the freedom to do so, we'll just choose the things which we like to do. And we need not do the things we have to do. But it's only with experience and as time goes by, much later in life, children understand that there's a balance between the two. You have to do and you like to do. And when you find the right balance between the two, when you come to a moderation, that's where you understand your responsibilities. And that's where finally you take your life forward. Because it's finally you understand that it's neither everything that you like to do happens in life. Destiny may take you to places which you never thought will take you to. On the other hand, there may be things that you felt when you were younger you didn't like. But as you grow with it and you get engaged and involved with that stream of thought, stream of work or service, you will start liking it, because there will be components of it which may be part of your inherent character. For example, you may be very creative, you may be very innovative, you may be having a technically sound thought process base. Fundamentally, you are a technical person. But you may become the CEO of a company where such requirements are not the highest degree, not to the highest degree. But you see, if you are a creative person and you become a CEO of a company, or you reach levels higher, then you can use your creativity and innovation to entirely reinvent, reimagine a structure of an organization, making it more creative, making it more innovative. So you see, you are anyway using your interests, but maybe for another purpose, maybe not what you imagined. So that is what I would like our next generation to understand. Now, in order to do this, there are a lot of very, very important, very significant matters that you have to keep in mind. One is, as you are growing up, I would suggest right from puberty, adolescence time, when you're a teenage. At the teenage level, the environment at home and the environment with your friends is very important. You have to choose your right circle of friends. At home, you have parents who guide you, okay? You may have parents who channelize you, but if you do not choose the right circle of friends, you are very easily diverted at a young age. Now, what happens then is things that you have to do and things that you like to do, you are sometimes diverted to things that you may not have to do. I mean, they are not necessary to spend so much of time and effort in that. So spend your time and effort and your commitment in things which are long-term for you, which are going to last you a lifetime. Because eventually you have to take the responsibilities of living, of your life, of yourself, your community, your family.
Yes.
So to do this, you have to do things you have to do.
Well, that was quite an answer, ma'am. And yes, balance and moderation, which you spoke about, and the company of friends, I sincerely believe that that is something that really matters. So now we've been sitting down and talking for a very long time. I think we should get up and go to the new school that we were talking about previously.
Yes.
So yeah, we won't waste any more time, and maybe let's move to the school.
Sure, absolutely. Welcome to National Public School, Uttarahalli in Bangalore. This is the very new setup which I am about to launch. The branch is now all set up for its project-based learning, its application methods based on inquiry-based learning, and we are all very excited. I'm just building up a new team. Thank you so much for this opportunity and an amazing experience. I hope that all of us together in our different walks of life will be able to reach our goals and aspirations and hope to motivate the coming generations.